Hello everyone, welcome back to Timberborn. This is episode 2, playing through the One Pod Challenge. In the first episode of this series, we got our colony established, we have some of the basics set up, we have the district center, farmhouse, a forester, some inventors' huts, a couple houses, and then the beginning of our production line. We made it through the first drought, no problem, it was only a couple days long. And right off the bat, I see we have an unemployed beaver, so we want to throw him into here to do some work. Although I think the beavers are actually done constructing everything. They're getting rid of some of these stumps over here. But we don't want them sitting around, so we're going to get a couple of inventors' huts set up. And we'll go ahead and get those placed right here. We're trying to save our green space for potential crops or trees that we want to grow. And so this makes this area perfectly suited for these two buildings. And it seems like today that the developers just released a new experimental update. There are a few big changes in this update. One of them being we can now place terrain blocks on all solid objects, which means that we can place them on top of platforms and overhangs, not just other terrain blocks. And there are also a couple of transportation methods now. So for the Iron Teeth, there's the two-way station and tubes. These drastically increase the speed at which beavers can get around. And then the Folktails have zip lines. I have not had a chance to use either of these yet. And with this being a new series, I don't really have a whole lot set up, so it's going to be a little while before we can get this two-way station set up. But I'm certainly looking forward to using that, because right now we could actually use it, since we will be trying to get some scrap metal from over here, and transporting it all the way back to this area would take quite a while normally. Having a two-way station would be awesome, increasing the movement speed by 300%. And so right now we don't really have anything that we need to work on constructing, so we can have all the extra beavers working in these inventors' huts for now. And one thing I am going to do is switch this job to be the lowest priority. We can actually leave this one as not the lowest but the second lowest priority. I think it'll be good to have these two working around the clock, or at least working as often as they can to chop down trees. Since we only have about 50 wood, not a whole lot, but we also don't have a place to store extra wood other than these few smaller industrial piles. And I'm just noticing we have an injured beaver. We should try and get some medical beds set up, because we want to make sure that we always have the beavers well rested. We'll get a couple of those placed here, and then we'll unpause this. And as soon as we get enough science, we currently have 167, but once we get to 250, we'll get the scavenger flag unlocked and start collecting some scrap metal from over here. And we can also look at getting some of the foundations for connecting the power shafts. We can also look at extending our power production over here, because I will be placing in some more water wheels on this side. And so we might as well get that started, even if we're not going to use it quite yet. Let's go ahead and get a rooftop terrace set up over here. We have started placing the platforms that we need to get up here. We also need to get a staircase set up. And then we can utilize this space over here for some future decorations and other well-being items. Probably get a couple scratchers up here, and then get some roofs over here to help give the benefit to the beavers. Well-being is going to be pretty critical for this challenge, since we need to get the beavers moving as fast as they can. And as most of you probably know, when their well-being increases, they get some benefits like working speed, movement speed, and lifespan. So right now we're looking for the next tier, getting them above 6 right now. Getting it to 7, it'll increase their life expectancy by 20%. And then at tier 10 and tier 12, we'll get working speed and movement speed upgrades respectively. And it looks like we just surpassed the 250 science mark. So we'll go ahead and get our first scavenger flag placed down right here. It is very far away, 148 tiles away. That is a long way. We are going to prioritize this. I want to get this up and running as fast as we can. Looks like we have no vacant jobs right now, which is excellent news. We will be pulling someone out of this inventor's hut pretty shortly, as soon as the scavenger flag is created. And you can see he is sprinting over there. And now we have Elbacax. That's an interesting name, but we have whoever this beaver is. He'll be dismantling all the scrap metal. We do want to get some storage set up for him, although it's going to be a lot closer to here than where he is. For now, I think we can repurpose some of this wood storage to be scrap metal storage. Looks like they have almost finished constructing the rooftop terrace. It's going to give them a nice little bonus. We also should look at getting some wet fir upgrades for them. Looks like some of these trees are almost grown up. We'll have them get chopped down first. And we can actually prioritize them if we unmark some of these trees. Looks like there are plenty of trees over here that have been chopped down and can get chopped down. And then hopefully they'll focus on these ones after they finish growing up. And then we can get a couple of the double showers placed here. And we just passed 120 science, which means that we can get the levee unlocked. We'll go ahead and place it here and over here, which will help channelize the bad water just a little bit. And that'll help make these water wheels a little bit more efficient. Looks like we're running at 100% power right now. We have a good amount. We have both these buildings running. The next building I want to get placed is a smelter. But we will need to extend the water wheels all the way over onto this side and then obviously finish constructing this one before that happens. Our next goal is going to be to get to 50 science so we can get the double showers unlocked. I have the beavers working on getting these trees cut down, so we have a beginning of the path set up. Looks like this beaver is hard at work. He has 13 scrap metal, doing a good job collecting it. He has not moved any back into the storage yet. I did unlock the double shower, so we have 2 of them placed here now. We can go ahead and connect the paths in, and then I'll remark all these trees to be chopped down. One thing we can do is go ahead and pause this forester temporarily. Since we only have a couple of beavers in the lumberjack flags, if we just rotate the beavers around some jobs like maybe this one, and then maybe the berry collector, that way they will always be working when they're in that job and they won't be experiencing any downtime, which, I mean, for workers, that's not the best, but for efficiency, that's what we're looking to do. Looks like we actually got maxed out on gears. We do not want to have beavers sitting around, so we'll pause him. We have 2 vacant jobs right now. Looks like we are doing a good job of working on getting some planks. We're a little short. We have 12 right now. But we're doing the best that we can. I just put a beaver back into the forester. He's going hard at replacing all these birch trees that got chopped down. It looks like the beaver who is working in the scrap metal collection facility, he is running all the way back there even though the day is over. And unfortunately he's going to get back there and then I think immediately come back. Oh, I guess he wants to keep working a little late. Ideally we do want to have a bot working that job, but we don't really have any other option right now. I think before I get a smelter, I'm going to be using some science to help the beavers' well-being. And so they are working on constructing these water wheels right now, but we can actually go ahead. We'll change the priority a little bit. These 2 can be lowest. These will be below that, and then we'll look at getting some fun stuff for them set up here. Specifically, we'll get at least 1 scratcher. Maybe I'll get a second one placed. And then for decorations, I'm going to get a roof placed here, so all the residents of these houses will get the benefits. And then if we have enough, which it looks like we don't, I want to get a lantern placed right over here. But we can afford a shrub, so let's get that placed right in this area. We are starting to run a little bit low on wood, so let's make sure that we have enough beavers chopping wood down. So they can both reach over here, and there are beavers in both those jobs. I think it's both of these inventors' huts that are unoccupied, which is totally fine. Now I'm hoping with the addition of these 3 new things that should actually bump the beavers' well-being up. Looks like that it was still only at 5 or 6, but it also could be dragged down by the one beaver who's working all the way over in the scrap metal collection facility, because I think that he is both not well rested and also thirsty. You know, I'm looking at it and I think the scratcher is going to be used quite a bit. We have fairly long work days, so there's only a short window that beavers could use this. So we'll get a second one of those set up over here. And just like that, we have a drought approaching. We have 3 days. Looks like we're doing alright on water. I, at one point, had both of these paused. So I think we got to do a little bit of job rearranging and we'll get another beaver working in here. We'll go ahead and halt production, or we'll halt the construction of other facilities. And then we'll get another beaver placed in this water pump. We'll also pause one of these inventors for now. Let's try and get as many planks created as we can while we still have some power running. Looks like it is finally paying off for the beavers' well-being. It is up to 9 right now. We'll go ahead and pause it and then take a look at the beavers' well-being, see what they are getting and what they're missing. Not all of them are able to use the scratcher or get close enough to the shrub. Seems like this campfire is actually way more popular than this one. There's actually no beavers who are hopping in here. We can go ahead and get a second shrub placed over here. I know that we don't have any builders working right now, but this will be one thing they can work on next. And then once we get some more science, we can unlock this and place it under here. But that is pretty low on the priority list since it requires metal blocks and we don't have a smelter yet. We have slowly been accruing scrap metal. We're at 26 overall. Even to construct a smelter takes 30 scrap metal. It'll take basically all the planks that we could possibly make in order to create this, plus the same for the scrap metal. But at this point, I think we have a good amount of well-being facilities set up for the beavers. So that will be the next thing that we unlock. We are about 100 science right now. So we are 200 away. It'll probably take us several more days to get there. Especially considering we only have one inventor hut that's working right now. So 17 hours. That'll take us like at least a beaver week, I think. But with the increased well-being, that should speed up the production a little bit. We'll also probably pause 1 or 2 of these water pumps during the dry season. Unfortunately, we just had a couple beavers die of old age. I reduced the amount of workers in the lumber mill, but we're still running a little bit short on beavers. We only have 11 right now. So quickly playing musical jobs, and just like that, the drought has started. Perfect timing. We have 40 planks. And then we have almost all the planks maxed out in here. So we'll go ahead and pause that. We now have no vacant jobs. We'll add one to the district center. And so they'll work on constructing this over here. We're about halfway to getting the amount of science we need in order to unlock the smelter. And the second day of the drought has begun. The beavers are doing as much work as they can. We still only have 11 beavers right now. Looks like this breeding pod is getting close to spitting out another beaver. Looks like the beavers are getting close to constructing the rest of all this stuff over here. We do want to get some power shafts set up. I'm just going to place a 4-way over here since we'll probably be removing this in the future and then getting some buildings over here. And then I might be putting some engines on top of some platforms over here. But that is obviously a ways out since right now we don't even have metal production. But we will also get a 4-way power shaft set up right here. That'll just be something that the beavers can work on. And it looks like we have all the materials that we need in order to create a smelter. We're just a little bit short on science right now. So hopefully soon they'll be able to finish getting all the science and then we can get that unlocked. And we officially made it through the second drought. Overall we're doing pretty good. Looks like we just hit the 300 science mark. So we can go ahead and get the smelter unlocked. So we'll get that constructed right here. We do want to make sure that the beavers have finished this. Well, I guess they don't even need to finish this first. As long as they have this done, these power wheels will be able to power this facility. And then during the next drought, what I'm going to do is have the beavers start constructing some water wheels down here and in the areas that they can't actually reach, since there won't be any bad water in this area like there is right now. But we don't want to contaminate them because that would be a major no-no. We definitely cannot afford to have any contaminated beavers right now. So looking at next steps, I think that I want to start doing the bot part factory and then the bot assembler. Normally I make 3 of these buildings and then 2 of these, just because that's the perfect ratio that we can have one of each, or I guess not one of each, but we can have the correct amount of each of the bot parts created simultaneously, and then the rate at which those are constructed can create one bot at a perfect ratio. However, that is going to take a lot of gears, a lot of metal blocks, and a lot of planks, and we don't really have the beaver power to produce that much. So I think at first I'm just going to have one bot part factory working, and then we'll just basically make a bunch of each of the different bot parts we need, and then we'll store those up, and then we'll have a bot assembler work to put them together. And then as we slowly get more and more bots, we can look at creating even more bot part factories and bot assemblers. So that is a very long-winded way of saying we're just going to start with one bot part factory, one bot assembler. Now we just ran into a unusual problem. We are actually almost completely maxed out on wood, and both of these guys, they had all the wood that they could handle, which means we don't really need either of these 3 jobs working. So we're going to get some production going on. We have a beaver in the gear workshop, and then we'll get a couple more set up in this lumber mill. The beavers, oh, looks like they just finished constructing the smelter, so now we have a beaver working in the smelter as well. We will once again get a couple small storages set up for metal blocks, but I also think that we are going to be pretty much done with construction, at least for the time being, which means we can reduce the amount of beavers working in here. And we will need to get another beaver placed back in one of these lumberjack flags soon, since we don't want to run too low on wood. We're doing pretty good right now. Looks like this beaver is helping to move some of the wood from these 2 buildings over into the storages, which means he is out of stuff to do. And just like that, he finished his job, so we'll go ahead and pause that. Looks like the water pumping beaver is out of stuff to do, so we'll pause him for now. We did unpause this lumberjack flag. There's a lot of trees that are growing up. It should keep him busy for quite a while. But overall, we're doing pretty much all that we can. We're going to be going a little bit slower now. We have a lot more jobs as opposed to the first episode. And plus, some of them are just incredibly inefficient. Specifically, the scrap metal collector, who is just all the way over there. He wastes a lot of time transporting himself and the scrap metal to and from this area. And then for the smelter, similar thing, since he has to go all the way over there to grab scrap metal when it hasn't been brought to the storage over here. I am going to get some more gear storage set up, since that is one of the items that you do not want to be running short on, especially when you're creating bots, or if you're getting the buildings set up in order to create the bots. Looks like we have 0 vacant jobs now. We do have some jobs that are paused that we will be unpausing soon. But I think one thing we do want to do is get the hauling post set up. This is going to really help with the scrap metal collection. And we can get it placed over here where it's out of the way, since it doesn't really matter where this building is. But we do need to turn on the district center in order to actually build this. And then we'll drastically reduce the beavers. We'll probably just have 1 beaver working in here for now. We can also start replacing some of these birch trees with oak trees, since we have a pretty good lineup of trees set up right now. We have a decent amount of wood, but the more oak we can squeeze in here, the better. Just gives us a better ratio in terms of growing time to wood production and a more efficient use of space. And looks like we have another drought approaching. I think for this drought, we're going to focus on getting these water wheels set up over here. We'll have another 4 set up, I think. We'll get a levee placed on the end here and here, but we'll wait for all the bad water to drain out of this area. That way we don't contaminate the beavers. And we will also want to look at getting an engine, hopefully sometime in the near future, since all 3 of these buildings will be put on pause when the drought is in progress, since there's no bad water flowing through here. Looks like we also just ran out of food. Thankfully we have some berries, but we'll need to bump up the amount of workers we have in the farmhouse. We also will need to make sure we get some berries collected soon, but we'll do that during the drought since we'll have 4 more workers to spare. And as soon as the builder finishes constructing, oh, there we go, that is done. We don't have any workers in there, but we will pause this. So now we should have someone in here. And the first building we are going to prioritize by haulers is going to be the scavenger flag. We are also going to prioritize the breeding pod by haulers. With less than half a day until the drought is beginning, there's a few things I want to do, including getting these water wheels set up, and then also get the forester to plant some more trees back here. But we don't have to wait too much longer because we'll get some more workers pretty dang shortly. And leading up to the drought, we'll just go ahead and preemptively pause all these buildings. And we can go ahead and unpause these ones. And it looks like we have a 4-day drought, nothing too crazy. We have access to water, so we'll be doing just fine. We can also go ahead and start having the stairs be constructed. They won't go down here to construct them, they'll construct them from above, but hopefully the bad water will finish flushing out relatively shortly. Although we have to pause this real quick because they could come down here now. And while we have these guys not doing anything, we'll make sure we have this inventor's hut open. And then we'll even bump up the amount of haulers that we have right now. This guy still has a decent amount of scrap metal all the way over here. Looks like there's at least one beaver going to help collect the stuff. But at the end of the first day, it does look like that the bad water finished spilling out. We'll unpause this, and then we'll do some job rearranging. Reduce this and turn this back on. Looks like they finished constructing the first compact water wheel. We'll go ahead and high prioritize this next one, and then we'll get a third one set up. I am not too optimistic that they will finish constructing these before the drought is over, which means that we will probably need to make sure that they don't come down here to construct it during the actual wet season with the bad water flowing through this area. But I just paused one of the water pumpers, and looks like both of these jobs are currently not occupied. I thought we had an extra beaver working around. So with this water pumper paused, looks like it's just the inventor sets that are not occupied. We are doing fantastic on scrap metal now. Looks like we have 33 in total. 15 of that is in storage. And this poor beaver, is this a hauler or... Oh, he's running too fast. Yeah, this is a hauling beaver. He looks like he worked overnight. And he is now hungry. Looks like we had a couple more beavers die of old age. I'm hoping that we will have the beavers live a little bit longer, since I think this first bunch were the beavers who started out in the colony. Looks like they finished building the second compact water wheel. There's only 0.4 days left, so they're not going to be able to finish this in time. So we're going to go ahead and actually delete this, and we'll make sure they can collect it. We will have to put in a couple of platforms. I know I could have done this during the last wet season, but I was going to see if they could construct this all during the drought. Looks like they could not, but that's okay. We saved a couple of platforms. And just like that, the dry season is over. The water will slowly be returning to this area. We still have a decent amount, so we actually didn't need to use the water pumpers during the drought. And then we will also get some more workers back in here when we get some power going. But we are at the point where we have quite a few extra jobs and just not enough beavers. But I'm hoping in the next episode we can finish creating the water wheels over here, get this whole system connected, and then we can look at unlocking our first bot part factory. It's 500 science, but we're getting pretty close, 430 right now. I think that's going to go right here, and then on top of it we should make the bot part assembler. So be sure to check out the next episode when it is released, and hopefully we will get the bots created in the next episode. But that might be a little far-fetched. We'll have to wait and see. So if you enjoyed today's episode, go ahead and smash that like button. I really do appreciate it. And let me know your comments down below what you're most excited for in this upcoming update that just dropped. And with that, I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.